And that's our show. But before we go, a little post-show conversation about episode 7 of The Last of Us. So, Jared, have you played well, I keep saying this. You don't have a PlayStation, but have you like watched? Are you familiar with like
9
what's
years ago, I
coming
watched
in The
PewDiePie
Last of
play.
Us? Okay. So you know the story of The Last of Us. If we talk kind of what we expect to see, we're not going to like massively spoil you here, are we?
No, I know all about it.
Okay,
Thankfully.
fantastic. I just want to make sure we're not going to ruin your day because I've already done that twice. So for those of you in the chat, for those of you listening on podcast services later or watching on YouTube, from here on out, we are talking future spoilers of The Last of Us, what we hope to see next episode in episode 7, Last Chance. Final warning. Okay, so in the preview, they showed us the Left Behind DLC with Riley. It seems like that's probably going to be most of what we get next episode.
Yeah.
Cayman, do you think we're going to get, because like I just played the Left Behind DLC again to remind myself, there's time jumps in that I kind of forgot about, where you're helping Joel in the present day post impalement, trying to get him medicine. Do you think they're going to kind of do that? Or do you think we're just going to stay in the past and see Ellie meet Riley and all that? Happenings.
So if we're talking just the way like shows work, like that works for a video game, but that doesn't work for a TV show that's weekly, right? Like maybe if it was all released on streaming day one, maybe that works, but I don't think for a TV show that works. You want to keep the suspense alive, so I definitely don't think that we'll see Joel again until the following episode.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I think is good. I think that's a good thing. Like that keeps people on their seat. That keeps people wanting to be like, oh fuck, what's happened to Joel? We're coming, like we'll sit through this incredible story because we want to know what's happening with Joel. So
yeah,
that's solid. I think that's the best way to do it.
Jared, do you align with that? Do you think we're going to see Joel at all this episode?
Probably. I mean, you don't just stab somebody and say, yeah, we'll leave him.
Yeah.
You know? It would make sense to the flashbacks, you know, back and forth, because I mean, they kind of have a history of doing it throughout the show so far, right?
Sure, we have seen time jumps for sure.
Yeah, that happened with the whole what was your guy's name, Henry and Sam?
Henry and Sam
situation. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully it works. Sounds cool.
Yeah, CSK. Say one more time. That'll come Sunday. Yep, Sunday night. Yeah. CSK in the chat, only 3 more episodes. We got a lot of story left in 3 episodes, and we kind of talked about it a little bit last week. I felt like the pacing for this episode 6, it overall I think it was a really, really good episode. I do feel like it was a little bit rushed, but I don't know. I kind of wonder if we're going to get a little bit more than just Left Behind in this episode, just from a timing perspective. But then I don't know, from a storytelling perspective, it might make sense to just keep it all compact in one episode and tell that kind of story in one go of it, and not kind of start bleeding into whatever the next beat is. But here's a question for you guys. This is something we didn't get to talk about on the Last of Us podcast, because that show has people who have not played the games or don't know the games. Do we think in episode 6 that was Dina
100%
in Jackson?
Yes,
100%. It had to be, right? When she's talking with Tommy and Maria, and the girl's kind of like looking a little bit like that, had to be Dina from the second game, I think.
So Dina's the Ellie's love interest in part 2.
Yeah, probably. I've seen that theory as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to age them up a little bit for the next season.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering if they've all like, because Bella Ramsey in real life is 19, which is how old Ellie is in part 2. So I wonder if they've done any sort of like de-aging, like if they've made her look a little younger than she is.
She does not look 19.
Yeah.
I'm 21, dude. She does not look 19.
Yeah. So maybe they just don't do any of that anymore. I don't know. But man, Jared, overall, have you been liking the show so far?
I love it. I love the bits. My favorite episode was episode 3 with Bill and Frank.
God, so good, so fucking good.
I was watching a video essay on that before we got on, which is, that's a very white guy thing to do.
Legit, will you send it to me? Because I would love to watch that.
Sure thing. Yeah. It was incredible. It was basically about the way he set himself up at the start, And yeah, I'll send it to you. It's fucking great.
Man, this show just continues to hit for me. It's so fucking good.
With regards to the show, I do have a question for you though. Actually, as well about the game more so. I've seen this thing on Twitter, and some of the answers made me want to puke in my mouth and spit it on a child. So,
oh boy,
The Last of Us 3, if it was set not like somewhere else and not with Ellie, where would you like to see it? Any part of the world?
I mean, do we want to see it smack in the middle of Dublin? No, real answer. I would love to leave America. I would love to see what it's like in another part of the world, personally. They have said, though, they've gone on record saying that The Last of Us is an American story. So like whatever we're going to get, like when Last of Us Factions, whatever that's called, comes out, I think they've said it's like somewhere in the South, like maybe it's somewhere on water. I think maybe like Louisiana, perhaps. I forget exactly, but it's definitely somewhere in America. But yeah, Cayman, what do you think?
It's a good question. I don't think the game works because I mean, you got to think like America's pretty massive, like, or the US is massive, right? So like you can literally just take the center of the US and just immediately remove it because like it needs to be set in a city.
Right.
Because like they kind of set up the world being like, hey, when you're out in the woods, you're not going to really see any of these infected unless they're leaving a city. So you have to be at least close by a city. You know, we've never seen anything in Atlanta. But I don't know if I want to put anything here. I don't know. You know, it'd be kind of cool is like Miami. Like
I was literally just thinking Miami.
Yeah, you said there's never been anything in Atlanta.
I mean, we have The Walking Dead.
You ever hear The Walking Dead?
Yeah, well, I'm talking video games. We've never gotten a video game. I think actually I take that back. I think The Walking Dead was set in Atlanta too.
It was.
Well, Savannah. Macon.
Yeah, well, it went from Macon to Savannah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think like I think like you got to think like everything is set in New York. Everything's set out in California, and then like you know some shit set in Florida. I can't even think of like I mean we've had Chicago once with Watch Dogs. The original Watch Dogs was Chicago. Like I don't know. Like what's a good like you got to have a mixture of both.
I'm curious, Jared. What was the answer that you saw that made you want to spit on children? It's such a visceral thing to want to do.
Puke on children.
Puke on children.
You're welcome on SDC anytime, bud.
Genuinely, the thing that made me like just like think someone was an idiot was someone said London. Do you know how fucked London would be? Do you know how many people live in London?
I've seen 28 days later.
How fast an infection would go through there, right? Who the fuck wants to see London? It would just be piles of fungus. Everything would be dead.
Yeah, it would be
outskirts, and you know, some guy lives in very top of like a apartment building or something like that. Or someone living in like underground parts.
Terry in the chat. No, go ahead, Cayman.
Hear me out. Japan. Yes, it's so highly dense. There's no one surviving in Japan, but also that'd just be really fucking cool to see like all of these like incredible structures just covered in fucking shit. Like that'd be dope.
Terry in the chat has a great answer. Jakarta. Let's go to the heart of where it started, at least in the show. That'd be pretty cool in the middle of where it actually started. He also says Seattle.
It was South America, right?
Say again.
In the game, it was South America.
In the game, it just said some sort of a crop situation. I don't remember if it might have been South America. I don't remember exactly, but it definitely was not Jakarta. That was a new thing for the show.
You could do like Cape Cod, South Africa. That'd be pretty dope. A bunch of shanties.
Cape Town.
What did I say? Cape Cod.
Cape isn't like Boston.
Yeah, fuck. I mean, they're both the same. Just a bunch of shanties and white people.
That's
true. South Africa is just a bunch of white people.
That's true. Also, Terry says Seattle. Like it was cool. Like obviously, part 2 mostly takes place in Seattle. It'd be cool to have a game mostly set at like the beginning of the outbreak in a city. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would definitely be much more of a horror game than these first 2 have been for sure.
Imagine the first person to ever see a clicker.
Oh.
No one would have believed them.
God.
Even to see a stalker, when they start having like this stuff come out of their heads,
no
one would have believed you, right?
No
Until
way.
they've seen it.
Yeah.
By that point, it's too late.
And then I would get the fuck out of here the first time you see a bloater.
Oh,
I would just get in the fetal position and just let it rip me apart.
It get you. present your neck like when a tiger comes at you.
Come on.
Could you imagine though getting like your head split, like the pain you would go through to have your head split like that?
It's like the guillotine. You would still be alive when this part of your head flops off.
You still see a little bit.
You got a couple seconds before it just finally goes away. But
no thanks.
I mean, let's be honest though. If that's how you're gonna go, that's pretty fucking ball. That's a metal ass way to go.
Yeah.
Let us know what theories you have for next episode and for the rest of the season, and let us. And love that question. Let us know what you think. Part 3, where a cool setting for part 3, where that might be. Whether it's in the comments of YouTube or right into mail@spotlightgames.net. Always love hearing from you guys. So let us know. Jer, thank you again for coming on. Had a great time having you on the podcast, even though I embarrassed you a couple of times. I hope you come back because
I'll get over it. I might not survive seeing the girlfriend tomorrow, but thanks.
Sure. Tell her to send her hate to me because I'm the one that exposed
I'll try.
it.
Look, dude, I'll try.
Yeah. All right, gents. And all those of you that came along in the chat, thank you so much. Have a great night. We will see you next week back on the original schedule of Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And until then,